Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, Staying Clean, and I'm so happy that you're a part of my recovery. I'm so happy that I'm able to share my strength and my experience in recovery with you. And today I want to talk about life on life's terms. And the reason I want to talk about it is very important that we stay focused on today. Not one foot in yesterday and not one foot in tomorrow, but today. I know in my active addiction that the only thing that was important was the getting and using and to make sure I wouldn't run out. So I would deal with the drama and the chaos of the getting and using and living the lifestyle that everybody else around me was doing. I didn't associate with people that wasn't using. I associated with people that were using. But as I walked into recovery and I started cleaning the wreckage of my past and facing my fears and my trauma of the past and dealing with the issues of my past, I learned to forgive myself and those who have harmed me. I gave it to a power greater than me to restore me to sanity. But the interesting thing is, the information that I share with others about recovery, there are some people that take the information of recovery and my addiction and try to use it against me, pointing out the failures of my past, not paying attention to any of the accomplishments or me coming out of addiction into recovery, but totally focused on my mistakes and not my repair of my past. I'm learning from my mistakes, growing, becoming better. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the good things. They only focus on the bad things to express shame and guilt on you for your past actions. But recovery teaches you to forgive yourself and others and give it to a power greater than you and let it go so you don't carry that shame and that guilt around anymore. That you move forward in your recovery and living your best life. Understanding that you was in the grips of a progressive illness, a disease called addiction. You understand how it happened to you because you look at yourself and your past honestly and openly in your heart and in your mind. But there are some people that take the information of your past and use it as leverage so they can do what they choose to do or want you to do. That's why it's important for us to pay close attention to ourselves and our actions and the things around us that's going on so we can make a sound, good decision on our life and moving forward, living life on life's terms. Being a recovering addict is the big stigma of being an addict. It's a big stigma of people looking down in shame, the scum of the earth. But the interesting thing is that those that are in recovery, that stay in recovery, are one of the best working people in the world, the most dedicated people in the world. And they're happy with themselves and their lives. They're not struggling to be more than they are. They're not trying to present themselves in a certain way so they look good in the eyes of others. A recovering addict cleans the wreckage of their past and learn to live life on life's terms. They work on being better than yesterday because they work on the mistakes of yesterday and move forward today. They understand how far they've come in their life, in their addiction to recovery, and the obstacles that they faced and they overcame. They're good with themselves. But the sad thing is, there are those that look at their addiction as shameful and they don't want to be around you because they don't want to be identified with you because you are a recovering addict. And they don't want to be associated with the stigma of that. The program of recovery teaches us we cannot change people, places, or things. So if a person feels that way, there's nothing that we can do about that situation. That's their feeling, that's their way, that's their choice. But we don't have to live in the pain or the stigma that they're creating. We understood how tough it was in addiction. We understood the power of the addiction. That's why those that recover from active addiction extend the hand of helping others and pulling someone else up out of addiction by a message, by sponsoring, social media, messaging somebody on social media about recovery, sharing the good points or the bad points that addiction has given you and what recovery has showed you. You extend yourself. When I came from active addiction into recovery, the first thing I noticed was these people are like me. They have a problem just like me. And together, we can get clean and sober. So we know that we can't change what people think or what they believe. People have their tunnel vision. They believe what they want to believe. There's nothing you can say. They want to change you to form what they want you to be. But that's not what we should be doing. Everyone has the right to make a decision with their life. Nobody has the right to dictate to somebody else the way they should live their life, whether it's right or wrong. History tells us that a person does not change unless they choose to change. When they choose to change their behavior, then their behavior changes. But if they do not, it will not change. No matter what you say or do, a person will do what they choose to do until they choose not to. Some people think that they're strong enough and they got enough knowledge and power to make a person change their mind. But in reality, we have no control over people, places, or things. And being a recovering addict, and we believe this and we know this to be a fact, then we don't go down that rabbit hole of trying to have tunnel vision to try to change somebody to do what we choose them to do. We learned in recovery that a person gets clean and sober when they choose recovery over addiction. When they say, I'm tired of my life that I'm living, that I'm going to try something different. I do not know where it's going to lead me, but it's got to be better than what I'm doing now. So they change their behavior. Here's the thing. I'm 66 years old, and I'm going to go back to 18 years old until 66. Now, if I close my eyes and think about all the mistakes I made from 18 to 66, it was a lot. There were a lot. So how do I know my way is the best way when I make mistakes? How is my way the best way when I've been making mistakes a lot of years? We all make mistakes. So if you think about all the mistakes you made from the time you was 18 until now, you know you're a faulty person. That's why it's important for a person to find their way that finds what works for them in recovery. You have to understand and know yourself what you can and cannot do, what you weaken and what you're not weak in, what you need to help yourself and build your strength up in. You, you know. You just have to be willing to do the work. You know, I was an assistant plant manager for a recycling company, and I learned something. It taught me a lot about people and people's behavior. I had people that worked for me, under me, that worked for me, that they spend most of their day complaining about the mistakes of others on the job and how they should be doing it other ways. And let's take that right there. Think about that for a minute. So for a whole day, you're making the whole day negative, feeling negative because you're focused on everything around you, but you're not focusing on yourself. If I was to just stay focused on myself to make my day a good day, then I would focus on making my job easier, more efficient, and learn more about the company so I can grow instead of pointing the finger on the mistakes of others and spending my time giving that all the energy and my time when I could be focusing on myself, making my job more efficient, learning more about the company so I can grow with the company to make more money. Big difference from one to the other, isn't it? So when I pay all my attention, I stop growing. I stop giving myself attention that I need to give my attention to make myself better, to make my life better, so I can grow and have a better life. But when I'm focusing on the actions of others, I take away from myself, and I'm the one that misses out on the gifts and the blessings of my recovery and living life on life's terms. Everyone has to find their way to live their best life. And finding that is knowing yourself, paying attention to yourself, the good points and the bad points. Work on the bad points. And not be ashamed that you have bad points because we all have bad points because we're imperfect people and we all make mistakes. So it doesn't matter who you are, everybody make mistakes. The mistake is not important, it's what we do after the mistake. If we're willing to change and learn from our mistakes, then we're learning to make ourselves better. We're giving ourselves information to make our lives better. And we won't go down that same rabbit hole because we're having an open mind and an open heart to receive information that will help us make a better decision the next time. But if we get on the defensive, then we have that tunnel vision. And the way we looked at it, we will not change our minds and we'll change everything around us to fit us not changing our mind, which makes our life difficult. So when I live life on life's terms, doing the next right thing, whether I like it or not, my life gets better. I understand myself a little better, a little more, a little better, a little more, a little better, by keeping an open mind and understanding that, Robert, you're a faulty person, so you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that's the thing that we all should ask ourselves. Let's check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because the person that does the most damage to Robert is Robert. The most damage a person does to you is you, no one else. If you are going the wrong way and you have tunnel vision of that, then you are causing yourself undue pain. Just like in addiction, you stayed in addiction until you decided to try something new because you got tired of the way you was going. You decided. So keep that in mind that when you decide to change your behavior, when you decide to learn from your mistakes, when you decide, that's only then your life will get better. This is Robert Goodman for Positive Stroke, Staying Clean. Wishing you a great Thursday. And understand this: you are your own hero because you decided to go from addiction to recovery. You made that choice. Now, don't let no one or nothing divert you from your primary purpose of staying clean and sober and being proud of being a recovering addict. If they have an issue with it, that's their issue. That's not you. You are a hero to yourself because you brought yourself out of active addiction into recovery and you've done the work to make your life better. You have a great and wonderful day.